Picture it, Napoleon Bonaparte, not on the bloodied sod of Waterloo, but striding down the muddy, sun-scorched lanes of New Orleans. The little emperor, boots half-soaked, hat askew, bargaining with a stubborn farmer over the price of corn. The man who once redrew maps now haggles over squash futures. History says exile to St. Helena. Reality says prison ship. But in our strange alternate afternoon, he caught a different wind. He arrives bewildered, still in full regalia, more gladiator than grocer. A fallen emperor with a taste for gumbo and a knack for drama. So, what would happen if Europe's most theatrical general decided to swap campaigns for Cajun markets? That's our tiny, deliciously ridiculous question. "1815. Waterloo has gone spectacularly wrong." Europe is exhausted, bankrupt, and collectively sighing at the thought of another Napoleonic escapade. Napoleon surrenders, his empire crumbling, his ego bruised, and his travel options suddenly limited. Now, imagine an alternate timeline. Instead of exile to St. Helena, he boards a ship bound for America. He seriously considered it, but the British Navy had other ideas. The ultimate maritime mic drop. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, America is recovering from the War of 1812. Burned cities, smoldering forts, and politicians nervously rearranging their powdered wigs. France itself is a theater of intrigue. Royalists grumbling over champagne, Bonapartists whispering plans behind closed doors. And right in the middle of it all, our would-be emperor arrives. A celebrity guest who could charm a nation, or trigger the first diplomatic headache of the 19th century. A delicate dance begins, and history teeters on the edge of absurdity. Now, just to be clear, while Napoleon did actually consider fleeing west, he never made it to America. What you're about to see are imaginative what-if scenarios, playful explorations of history, not the history itself. Think of it as a window into an alternate timeline, grounded in facts but sprinkled with a healthy dose of absurdity. America, 1815. The nation is still wincing from the War of 1812. Washington smoldered, Baltimore survived barely, and politicians are nervously adjusting powdered wigs like life depends on it. Because, frankly, foreign kings dropping by is exactly the kind of thing that keeps them up at night. But the people? They adore a hero. And Napoleon, a tiny general with a colossal ego, would be headline news across every port, town square, and gossip-laden tavern. If Instagram existed, he'd be taking selfies with bald eagles, signing autographs for admiring young soldiers, and maybe, just maybe, founding the world's first influencer army. The curiosity is irresistible. America isn't ready for him. He's too grand, too theatrical, and far too French. And yet, the streets, the markets, and even the riverboats are alive with whispers. Has the little corporal finally arrived? History holds its breath, and we can't help ourselves but chuckle. Now comes the real question. What could Napoleon actually do in America? The possibilities are delightfully absurd. Option A. Retire quietly. Become a farmer or a professor. Picture him in a muddy field, lecturing young children on artillery trajectories while they sneak off to play with hoops and sticks. The mighty emperor, reduced to explaining cannon angles to a bunch of sugar-addled kids. It's heroic and ridiculous. Option B, plot a political comeback. Could he rally French immigrants, veterans, and ambitious locals into a new empire? America is young, idealistic, and utterly unprepared for a Napoleonic encore. Imagine him holding rallies in town squares, delivering speeches with dramatic hand gestures, and confusing American politicians with every sentence. Option C, become an entrepreneur. Napoleon opens bakeries, produces wine, or even invests in Louisiana real estate. Perhaps a chain of cafes called Le Petit Empereur springs up. Even here, his ego shines. Each baguette perfectly aligned, each wine bottle bearing his seal. Napoleon adapts, but never diminishes. Whatever path he takes, one thing is clear. America is about to meet a Napoleon who refuses to fade quietly. And the spectacle, absolutely irresistible. The US government? Panicked. Wait, you want to live here? Absolutely not. Officials shuffle papers, adjust powdered wigs, and debate whether deportation treaties exist for tiny French emperors. Britain? Furious. We just defeated this guy, and now he's eating gumbo across the Atlantic? Admirals grip their maps, while sailors spit into the harbor in collective annoyance. France? Well, France is conflicted. Royalists clutch their lace handkerchiefs and sigh audibly, while Bonapartists cheer in secret, planning elaborate toasts in candlelit rooms. Meanwhile, Napoleon strolls through Congress, hat cocked, gesturing wildly, giving speeches that are part statesmanship, part theatrical performance. Every gesture, every phrase, makes diplomats question their careers, and historians question reality. The absurdity of it all? Delicious.
So, what if Napoleon had truly planted his flag on American soil? Could he have sparked the first transatlantic showdown, turning a young republic into a Napoleonic playground? Could the U.S. Constitution have been rewritten in the image of an emperor's whim? Or, more likely, he would have become the man who sold baguettes in Louisiana, occasionally lecturing kids about artillery while dodging local tax inspectors. History's grand what-ifs often hinge on absurdity. Imagine town squares filled with citizens debating whether Napoleon's presence is inspiration or a bureaucratic nightmare. Across oceans, Europe watches, Britain fumes, and France whispers, "He's up to something again." And yet, in this ridiculous alternate timeline, the world continues, awkward, humorous, and just slightly terrified of a tiny general with a colossal ego.
And so, Napoleon's American adventure ends. Or at least, it does in our imagination. His greatest battles in America? Not Waterloo, not Austerlitz, but resisting the chaos of free speech, elections, and the unstoppable curiosity of a fledgling nation. Perhaps he'd be remembered as a revolutionary emperor, shaking the foundations of democracy. Or maybe, just the world's most famous cafe owner, perfecting baguettes and espresso in Louisiana, while townsfolk roll their eyes. History is full of what-ifs, and sometimes the most entertaining ones are utterly ridiculous. So, would you crown Napoleon as Emperor of Louisiana, or let him stick to baking bread? Either way, one thing's for certain. A tiny general with a colossal ego never truly fades from imagination.